When you're a maintenance engineer in a beverage manufacturing plant, you keep production lines moving and quality on track because there's no room for slowdowns. With Grainger's vast selection of high-quality motors, sensors, belts, and hard-to-find parts, you can get what you need fast and all in one place, so nothing gets in the way of getting the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, Victoria. Welcome to What's Your Next podcast.
Hi, Laura. It's so great to be here. I'm so excited. I'm just so honored to be here.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to chat with you. All things books, all things rom-coms. I love the book recommendation that you have because I was like, it's actually one of those that I really need to, that I have it on my list of that I need to read.
Which one?
Joss Richards' book.
Wow. Okay, I've got so much to say.
Yeah. So, Victoria, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Victoria, and I got into this world of romance with my debut in 2025, and I am about to publish my second rom-com, Not That Kind of Proposal, when I am not obsessing over fictional people. I am a mom who has no time for sleeping. I live in Maine, which I love, I'd say probably 80% of the time. We're coming out of the worst season,
Yes.
which is really like winter part 2. So things are like finally looking up. But yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Oh my gosh, I love this. I just finished reading a Lumberjack Maine series that was an Audible, like 5-book series set in a small town out of Maine where there's timber and there's like a suspense around it. And I was like, I was feeling all my vibes. I was like, I kept telling, I was like, I need to go to Maine just to do that. But all I could hear was the terrible winters and all the different things that they had to struggle with. And I was like, the vibes. I know the summer is lovely. Like, it's
I would say half the state are snowbirds. They just escape for the winters and stuff. And I actually love the winters. I grew up in Alaska, and give me the snow and everything, but the springtime when it's nothing but slush and mud, it's like, I threatened my husband. I'm like, I'm moving. You can come with me. You can bring the kids. I'm moving. And I never.
All right, so we got to talk about because your first book is set in Alaska. You just mentioned you grew up in Alaska. Talk to us about Alaska.
It's like, right. So I haven't been in so long, but it truly is like, I think that we all have these formative places in our childhoods. And it's just, I can't think of Alaska without feeling this intense nostalgia and just joy. And even though the winters are so much worse than they are here in Maine, it's like I think of them fondly and with so much, just love in my heart. When I was writing my book, I was like, yes, I have to set it in Alaska because I just want to live in that world for a little bit. One of the greatest things is getting messages from Alaskan readers. And there are like a few little Easter eggs in the book that only Alaska residents would get. And Forrest calls snow machines, which is just this Alaskan thing. Where readers will pick up on it and be like, oh my God, you must be like an Alaska resident. I was like, it used to be, but I just love this place.
I love this. And honestly, I love the rom-com, like the first one where it's just, she had a terrible, like an author's worst nightmare and then goes on a retreat and finds this movie man. It's like the forced proximity is, I'm just going to go retreat to Alaska. Ill prepare.
It came out of me so quickly. It was just a joy to write. And I think that as a writer, like when you find a concept that just, I don't know, it's just really fun and hooky, it's like the book almost seems to write itself.
All right, so we got to talk about that kind of proposal, which is a Rhode Island. You did go to Rhode Island, RISD.
Yes. Rhode Island School of Design. Yeah, I went there. I lived in Rhode Island for 10 years. Lil Rhodey is very close to my heart too.
Yeah,
sure.
So No, That Kind of Proposal is about a wedding planner who also may be losing her house and her job because the grumpy grandson wants to sell the estate that his grandma has let him have, but he also gave her a cottage. So he cannot kick her out so quickly. He actually has to butter her up. And he's a divorce lawyer. She's a helpless romantic. And they have to plan her ex-boyfriend's wedding, but she's still dealing with the breakup. So what a setup.
Like a really simple plot is what you're saying.
Yes. It's like you're putting them through the ringer and you're like, oh, okay, we're just going to have her. The stakes are so high. And you think it's not a big deal. And like, no, they're really high. And there's like the hero has issues with the house. So that's why he wants to sell it really fast. And he has a secret seller, a secret buyer to do it. Yeah.
Oh my God. So I feel like Any Trope But You was really simple. The plot was really simple.
Yeah.
And then this book was just not. And it started out simple. I was like, I want to write a book about a wedding planner and a divorce lawyer. And then it just, I don't know, became this very intricate plot as it went along. My editor was so fantastic, and she definitely helped me craft this story that feels super high stakes and just keeps the plot moving really fast.
Yeah. So talk to me about planning, because essentially you're planning a wedding along with inheritance law and all those different things and stuff like that. But to plan a wedding, you have to put together a wedding for someone that you don't want to have a marriage for.
Yeah.
What was the process for you to research all the parts of a 2-month window, because it's concentrated in a very small window for wedding?
Gosh, so it was actually extremely convenient because my editor at the time was engaged and was in the throes of getting everything together and organizing her wedding. And she had a fantastic wedding planner, and the wedding was huge and gorgeous and all of the things. And so I was able to ask her so many questions along the way, because I've been married for, I'm actually embarrassed to say, I can't give you the actual number of years, but probably 14 years. Yeah. So it's been a minute since I planned my own wedding, but having my editor just going through this while I was writing it was just perfect. I was like, you're just going to be my test subject. I'm just going to ask you.
Because things have changed. They have changed from my time when my friends were getting married. I'm in my 40s, and that has changed dramatically. A lot of things, I'm like, it's much more expensive.
I know, that was actually one of the things. I ended up taking out all numbers because when I originally drafting this, I was stuck 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And my editor was like, oh, that's
Actually, I just saw a clip of someone who was like, those HGTV buying a house. They have a budget to buy a house in 2012. 2012.
Oh,
the budget they had was $100,000 to buy a house.
Okay. I just bought a house.
We were supposed to buy a house then. It was between 70, his choice was 90,000, a 2-floor, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, like modern stuff. The highest was $140,000. This was 2012.
That is wild. We just moved into a neighborhood, and our neighbor across the street also bought in 2012, coincidentally, and 4 bedrooms, gorgeous house, big backyard, everything. And they paid less than half of what we paid.
It is too expensive.
I know.
I was able to afford living in New York City on a $55,000 salary. Don't ask me how, but I did.
That is off to
What's happening here? But yeah, I don't know. So going back to the book, we got a divorce attorney, we got a wedding planner, we got forced proximity, which we love to see. What was your favorite part of writing this book?
100% the banter. If I could write banter all day long, just these interactions. I don't know how I'm going to ever move past enemies to lovers, because I feel like the banter between enemies to lovers, it's just so much fun.
I think that's an ideal thing. I am here for it.
Oh, I know. It was just, I really could have written dialogue between Gracie and Jude all day long. And hopefully my next book will have the opportunity to have lots of that back and forth as well.
I love this. All right, let's talk about the books you read. What kind of books do you tend to read? Do you read rom-coms, romance, or other genres? I know you mentioned earlier before Diana Gabaldon, which we love. We love Outlander,
Oh my gosh.
That's a commitment, but we love it.
Oh my gosh. Actually, yesterday I saw that Sam Hewen, who plays Jamie Fraser in the show, he's done something on Try Quinn. And Quinn is the audio erotica.
Yes. We love it.
I haven't actually tried Quinn yet, but I am now. Maybe I will. Maybe for Jamie.
Yes, they're doing such a great job. They're casting the right people.
Oh, I know. They're doing the right thing.
They're doing the right thing. That's a way to build a business model that gets people actually excited and talk about it in other podcasts or in other places.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. But in terms of other genres, the thing is, I think I mentioned to you before we started recording, I am a mom and I've got a 1-year-old, so sleep and extra time is very rare for me at this stage in my life. And so basically I read books for blurbing. That is my reading time. Oftentimes, because I'm a romance author, I'm reading romance, and I feel so lucky because I get to read all these amazing books before they're out. But it doesn't really leave a lot of time for other genres that I love, which I love thrillers. I love sci-fi. I love lit fic. I will read anything.
Yeah.
It's good. If there's beautiful prose, if there is humor, I'm there.
All right, we got to talk about Let's Kiss and Tell by Josh Richards. This is the one that's coming out for
I think it's coming out in August.
So yeah, this is coming out like later on this summer. Talk to why would readership pre-order it, because I know Joss had a great review, a very fall-like review, but this is like a summer. It feels summer for me.
Okay, so readers who loved It's Different This Time, they're like, when I read that book, I was blown away, first of all, because Ross just writes such three-dimensional characters. She writes with such softness. And I feel like these characters, you just get right into the pulpy center of their hearts instantly. You just know who they are. I was like, there's no way I'm going to love a book more than that one from her. And I was wrong. I was like, I read Let's Kiss and Tell so quickly. I just flew through it. And I was like, I'm going to have to go back for a reread because I'm just skimming the pages so fast. And so as soon as I finished it, I was like, okay, time for my reread. And I went back through, and it was just, I'm so glad that I did, because there was just so much emotional nuance. And a jaded, love allergic heroine is one of my favorite types of heroines. That's because that was Margot in my first book. I just absolutely love that archetype. And she just brought such freshness to it. And the main character, Lucy, she's a sex writer, and she doesn't want anything to do with a relationship. And I just feel like she just nailed it, but in a really fresh way. And gosh, Marsh, I could go on and on about their relationship dynamics, and it just felt so real. I think a lot of times romance can feel sometimes, okay, you're checking boxes in the relationship and in the different beats throughout the book. Okay, now they're going to have their first fight. Now they're going to have their third act breakup. Now they're going to have a kiss. Like, you just feel like you know what's coming. But for some reason, this relationship felt just so real, so slice of life, the way she writes it. So I could not recommend this book more. You're going to love it.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited. This one actually have the audio arc for this one. It's Potshot by Laura Fackrelli. I have the audio. So actually, I'm going to bump it up this weekend. That's actually, I'm going to do this with my ears.
I have not heard the audio yet. I need to text Laura and beg her for it, because my goodness, this book, it's the funniest book I've ever read. And I don't say that lightly, because humor in books is sort of my like best cup of tea. I love to laugh, but I'm picky. I'm like a picky comedy reader. I have a hard laugh, but I love to find books that like make me cackle. And this one, Laura has just got like the zaniest, best sense of humor I've read in like a hot minute. So yeah.
Gosh. And then finally, we got Succubus or Succubus.
Yes. Yes.
A Love Story by Kate Fox.
Okay, so these were all blurbing books. So it isn't out yet. And I think it's out in October, maybe?
I think so.
I think it's a fall release. So this book, I would say the voice, even like it kind of borders on almost like a contemporary fiction voice, but it is a romance book and it is hilarious. This is also another book that I was cackling throughout the entire thing. And the premise was just so fantastic. It's about this woman who she's a succubus, and she doesn't realize that she's been cursed until every lover she takes, even boys that she's kissed like in like high school and stuff, they start dropping like flies. They like get hit by buses and they just like they die. And so she starts realizing like this can't be a coincidence. And then I know, and she's like a good person, but she tries to like, when she has this horrible realization, like, oh my God, I'm like killing the boys I kiss, she just tries to cut herself off. And then of course she meets the most perfectly attractive doctor she's ever met, and she falls so hard for him, and it almost seems like a supernatural connection because they cannot keep their hands or eyes off of each other, and they hate each other. They're mortal enemies, but there's a lot of hate sex in the beginning. It's just, I don't know. I've never read anything like it. I just could not stop. This book it just takes the cake for one of the most original books I've ever read and funniest and most beautifully written. Definitely recommend.
Well, I'm adding this to the list for the fall. Oh my gosh, you had me at hate sex. And
Yes.
basically, she kills off every person. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
I know. Well, no, so I will say he's part of this shadowy and supernatural world too. So, she's expecting him to pretty much, but he doesn't. So
Sorry.
there's a little mystery there.
It's a little mystery. All right, Victoria, tell us where you can find you online.
Okay, so I am on Instagram at Victoria Lavine Writes. And everybody says Victoria Lavine, that's fine, but it's Lavine with an A, Lavine. And my website is victorialavine.com.
Thank you, Victoria, for being on the show.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I loved laughing with you and talking books and just all the things.
I love this, and I love these recommendations so much.
Oh, I'm so glad. I feel so lucky. I feel like the luckiest to be able to read all these awesome books. And yeah, it's just the best. Dream job.
Dream job. Thanks for listening to the What to Read Next. For more book lists, cozy reads, and library tips, visit the whattoreadnextblog.com. Your next great read might be waiting there.
When you're a maintenance engineer in a beverage manufacturing plant, you keep production lines moving and quality on track because there's no room for slowdowns. With Grainger's vast selection of high-quality motors, sensors, belts, and hard-to-find parts, you can get what you need fast and all in one place, so nothing gets in the way of getting the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.